Perfect. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Action Coach Birmingham's Lunch and Learn with me, Julie Cameron. I'm a business growth specialist with Action Coach Birmingham, and I have the pleasure of having alongside me today Pam Taylor from Luv4 Marketing. How are you, Pam?
Very good, thank you, Julie. Very, very good. As you know, it's my first day back after 2 weeks break, so all ready to go and all refreshed. Yeah.
I was going to say there's not many people that could say raring to go on their first day back at work. So I appreciate so much you joining me this lunchtime. So I believe that you are going to chat to us all about the digital marketing roadmap. So over to you, Pam. I'm looking forward. My pen is poised. My book is ready to take notes. I am ready for it. So over to you.
Okay. So what I'm going to talk through today, just briefly, is it's a unique digital marketing roadmap that we have at Luv4 Marketing. So it's what I'm going to talk to you about what the digital marketing roadmap is, and I suppose as well, kind of pinpointing where there may be some hiccups for some businesses along the way, and just to try and make it so that they might understand why things are maybe not working in the way that they should be working. It's quite a simplistic way of looking at digital marketing and a very good way to work through your digital marketing strategies. So first of all, if I just go into my screen here, so this is me. I'm Pamela, and I'm a digital marketing specialist at Luv4 Marketing in Birmingham. And we're working with a variety of different businesses on teaching them how to build up their digital marketing strategies. Kind of the way that I work is that I do work with kind of like one-to-one clients and sort of group sessions as well, where we help businesses who are either just starting up or businesses that are already established, and help them to build up a really good digital marketing strategy. We know the last, I don't even know if I want to say the C word, but anyway, if we talk about the last year or so, a lot of businesses may have started, a very good digital marketing strategy at the beginning of 2020 and had to adapt things very, very quickly and put, certain things on hold because it might not have been the right time to do that. So, what I try to look at now is kind of how to build a digital marketing strategy that is flexible with every sort of situation. Hopefully we're all kind of on the straight and narrow now, and, businesses are opened and hopefully, there's not going to be too many changes in the foreseeable future, but who knows? So what I do try to do is work with businesses to build a flexible digital marketing strategy, one that can kind of go in different directions, regardless of what is happening in the world. So, I go. So just a little bit about what Luv4 Marketing do, other than just, the digital marketing roadmap. We help businesses and do things like webinars and workshops. So I work very closely with NatWest Bank, and we run a series of free workshops with them on, with small business owners that are registered with NatWest Bank. So that's quite exciting. And we work very much in partnership with them. I do social marketing training. We also can help businesses with digital marketing apprenticeships. So this is for businesses who may not have a large budget to employ somebody to do their digital marketing or marketing for them, but they can actually hire somebody on a government funded scheme. There are criteria that you have to pass in order to do that, but it is something for businesses to look at that may be smaller and may have a smaller budget available to do digital marketing. We also build websites for Google as well, and very much specifically, and I will touch a little bit more on that in the digital marketing roadmap. We do team training, and we also do lead generation services. So one of the things that we talk about a lot at Luv4 Marketing is time being our most valuable asset. Can't say it. We do fully appreciate that business owners are not there to just do their digital marketing. There's a lot of businesses who've started a business and they're very passionate about what they do and haven't really thought about the marketing side of things. So this is where we can't step in to help businesses to say that actually you don't need to be doing your digital marketing 24/7. There is, you can set aside a time to do this on a daily basis and still get your digital marketing to work for your business. So we do fully appreciate that businesses, time is valued to them. So this is kind of a brief synopsis of the digital marketing roadmap that we look at. And nothing is clicking through. Oh, here we go. It's taking a little while. So I'll do this properly, but basically what we're talking about is digital marketing plan, websites, SEO, which is search engine optimization, Google ads, Facebook ads, social media accounts, CRM systems, email, and then remarketing. I do have a little fancy map to go through this with you. Okay. So when we first, take on a client and speak to them, the first thing that we kind of look at is building a plan over the 90 days. Now, it's something that we look at the beginning of the strategy, and it's something that we look at the end. So kind of when we're looking at the goal, at the plan, we talk to businesses about what they've done previously, what's worked, what's not worked. There's a lot of businesses that have done things that think they've worked, but may actually the analytics may be showing something completely different. So we delve into that in the beginning, kind of look to the past to see what's worked, what can we adapt and what can we change. Was it right? Was it wrong? So there's a whole sort of like looking a little bit behind, and also talking to businesses kind of about why they first started out in their business, because we could be missing so many, personal stories. A lot of people have set up businesses, with a background story in mind. There's something that spurred them on to do that. So we look at that and think, are they actually identifying that and sharing that with their audience? So there's a whole lot of in-depth detail that we can look at before we start working with a client. But when we do start the process of looking at digital marketing, we always start with the website. Now, there's many things that can be stopping a website from working for business. Now, if, when I think about things with businesses and, they say things to me like, oh, I'm not getting any sales on my website. I'm not getting any, there's no traffic going there. And this is very common. A lot of businesses have had websites set up maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And, and they were built at a different time to do something different, if that makes sense. I don't know if that, it's maybe it wasn't about driving sales through the website that was specific at the time. Maybe it was just a case of we want to have a brochure of what we do online. We want to be able to share that with people so that they can see what we do and what services that we offer. That might never have been set up to be found on Google. So that's kind of one of the very, very first things that we sort of look at. It's kind of, what do you think that you are being, what do you think people are going to type into Google to find your business? It astonishes me the amount of businesses who have never done a Google search on their own business. So if they, so say for instance, it's obviously you guys are business coaching, so typing in business coaching Birmingham, kind of do you come up in that search term? Typing in just the keywords that you think people will type into. It's a very good exercise to do if you haven't done it, and it is something that you need to keep doing to see if you are being found. Because the problem is, a lot of businesses think that they're being found for those keywords and discover later on that they're actually sitting on about page 10 of Google for those keywords. So that's kind of, we look at all that and break that all down. We help businesses work with their web developer to make some changes to their website in order for them to start being found. So again, something that probably is maybe something that people don't always think about, but your website is quite normally being looked at on a mobile device. And again, have you looked at your website on a mobile device to see how easy it is for people to navigate around? It might look great on desktop, and that's fantastic, but does it look good on a mobile device? Can people work through your website on a mobile device? Another good trick to kind of to do. And these are kind of the requirements that Google alone ask you. You know, this is what they want you to have. These are like the minimum requirements to have a fast, secure, mobile-friendly website. Now, you know it's secure when you've got the little padlock at the side and it will say that it is a secure website. If it's not saying that it's secure, and again, it's testing it on Google Chrome and different, you know, other search engines to see if it is always going to come up as a secure website. There are features on Google that you know, the MD can come and ask them later if they want, and how to tell if your website is fast enough. You'd be shocked really if you're not working with websites, but they really do need to be very, very fast. Only a couple of seconds. If images are not loading up in a couple of seconds, you're quite likely to actually lose potential clients who go to a faster website. So there are some tools, but I do actually do a website health audit that I do for free, and I can go through that with anyone if other people are interested in learning a bit more about that, and then we can again look at what things that you need to go back to your web developer. So once you've got your website and it's running and you can be found on Google, we build, obviously, this is again, the SEO is actually within the website as well. So we build up a keyword analysis. And some websites, it's just quite simply that they just need a keyword analysis within their website so that they're being found for the right terms and the right keywords and search engine search, so that you can search for your own website basically, and people are finding you. The one thing that obviously with Google is that kind of when people are typing in those words to find you, they are actually looking for you. So you want to be found when people are searching for your type of business. So that's why it's always crucial to make sure that you're set up in Google My Business. And once you've got all this in action, then you can look at setting up Google Ads. Now, Google Ads is different to your social media ads because, again, people are in the buying mindset. They're buying, they're looking for you, they want to purchase your service or your product, and that is it in a nutshell. Now, when you run Google Ads, once you've got your website that's secure, fast, and mobile friendly, you've got your SEO, you've got your keywords all in your website already, then Google Ads will run effectively for you. Now, Google Ads isn't for every business. And it is something to consider and something to talk to a specialist about when you are going down that route, because I have seen businesses who have spent a small fortune on Google Ads that actually done very, very little to be found. So it is definitely worth. Sorry, you got a question?
No. I was going to say that it's just more my question actually. So when you say that Google Ads aren't for everybody, what type of business are they perfect for then?
They are good for the businesses that are, I suppose, maybe the crowded markets of businesses, but it can be very, very expensive. Okay. So I suppose, it's definitely, Google Ads does work when everything is in place and you start running Google Ads. It is very effective and it will work for your business. But you have to consider that you've got to put money in to get a return on investment. So again, it's just like anything in marketing, really. You have to invest to accumulate. Mm-hmm. So there might be sort of slightly larger outgoings in order for you to get back a return on investment. And you should see a return on investment very, very quickly if you're investing in Google Ads. Okay. That's why I would always encourage any business who is looking to do Google Ads to talk to a specialist, and don't just delve into it on your own. Do talk to a specialist just to make sure that you've got all the right keyword analysis, because if you're in a highly competitive sector, you might have to be very careful about the keywords that you are using. You might not be able to be found for those highly competitive terms, but there might be something else within there that you can be found for. So obviously business coaching is highly competitive, but kind of is there a niche within there that you specialize in that no one else does. So it's kind of looking at those sorts of things in order for Google Ads to work effectively for your business. Otherwise, you know, you've got keywords in there that are going to cost you thousands per click. So it's got to be done very carefully.
Yeah, I get you. Thank you.
So then we go on. Once again, you know, you've got everything in place. You can then look at doing Facebook ads. Obviously, I would encourage businesses who are looking at Facebook ads to already be active on digital marketing and social media marketing, already active on Facebook before you kind of delve into Facebook ads. The thing with Facebook ads is that you are kind of disrupting the process on the Facebook feed. So it's different to Google ads in the sense that people are already searching for you. Facebook, they don't know that they need you yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole lot of controversy just now. I'll say controversy between kind of the iOS update that's kind of, you can actually stop ads from filtering through on certain apps. So it actually asks you if you still want to have access to kind of sponsored ads. So this has been only happening sort of fairly recently, and it's quite early days to see what the full impact is on Facebook ads at the moment. Yeah. So things have been having to be sort of tweaked and changed a little bit in that sense as well. So again, if you're delving into Facebook ads for the first time, good to have a chat with somebody like myself, you know, somebody who's able to give you some very good specialist information on how to tackle your first Facebook ad. Then on to the next part of the map.
Pam, we've just had a question. Sorry, Pam, we've just had a question come in saying, obviously, about you were saying about looking at your website and making sure that it's fast, etc., etc. Give Google what Google wants. Yes. And somebody's just asked, how often should you be reviewing your website? Should it be like something that you're going in on a daily basis, a monthly basis, or should you give it a complete overhaul every year? That kind of aspect. Is there a time scale that people recommend you to look at redoing your website?
Well, I would say, so the thing is, you should be updating your website on a regular basis. For you to be found on Google, there are some things that Google wants you to do, and Google wants you to always have a relevant and up-to-date website. Okay. So, you know, the easy way to do, I say easy, it's not actually as easy as I make out, but the easiest way to do it is by writing blogs. So if you're updating your website with blog content that is relevant to your services, so that you're sharing your expertise in the area that you're working in. Yeah. This is one of, you know, and you don't need to be updating, you know, writing blogs daily, but at a minimum 2 a month with maybe sort of, you know, 500 plus words within that blog is a good place to start. But obviously, if you've got services that you've got an offer and you're adding services, you know, obviously that's classed as an update. Just don't let what I would say is, and any web developer would say the same, is that once you've got a website and it's launched, don't just let it sit there. You've got to be constantly working on it. Obviously, I would be checking, you know, Google Analytics on a weekly basis to see where people are looking on the website, what pages are they looking at? Is there anything more that I can do to make that, you know, that easier for the customer journey? Is there, you know, things like, is there a bigger call to action that I could add to that page to make sure that they're not just going to that page and coming off? So it's just looking. I mean, you've definitely got to be checking your analytics on a weekly basis, but you know, if you've got events going on, obviously updating and adding your events on a regular basis. These are all classed as updates, and it's all relevant. And then Google can see that you are working constantly on your website. You're nurturing it. It's your baby. At the end of the day, if all we've got is our digital presence and we're not in a shop or an office, and this is the only way that people can say, you've got to nurture it in the way that you would if it was a physical building. Yes. You know, you would always go in to a, you know, say for a shop, you would tidy it up, you would polish, would sort, you know, you would sort things out. So you've got to, that's how I always like to think about a website. It's kind of like, what would I do in a physical physical
shop? It makes perfect sense when you say it like that, but I think sometimes we all get kind of, because it's digital and it's online, we don't necessarily see it as a physical product, but actually it's our shop, it's our image to the world.
It's your brochure, it's everything. You know, when people are looking, you know, if you're going to a networking event or you're having a one-to-one with someone, they're always checking your website out, they'll check your LinkedIn profile out, just, you know, and that, you know, that's without your customers, obviously, that's just people kind of looking at. So it's got to be up to date. You know, you don't, that's kind of like your reputation is, you know, that's what it is. Your reputation sits there, you know, you as a person and your website. So it's just always making sure, that that you don't just leave it to go moldy. That's what I'm going to say. You don't, you know, and that's it, because we want to keep on being ranked high on Google, because once those things slip, you start, you know, even if you rank really high, you'll just go lower and lower, and then people will rank above you. So it's just as simplistic as that.
Brilliant.
But anyway, if we look at sort of social media as well, and obviously, you know, it's kind of, again, I say to businesses as well, you know, as we say, time is of the essence. So it's like, where does your audience sit? If, you know, if anyone needs help with this, it's, you know, I'm happy to have a chat with NMG about this, because, you know, it's kind of like, are you sort of B2C? Are you B2B? What type of business are you? Are you sitting on the right platform? And actually, even if you are sitting on the right platform, is your audience the right audience? You know, that's, if, you know, I'll say this probably, you know, quite repetitively, but checking your analytics is really, really crucial in every step of your digital marketing process. You know, if your Facebook isn't working for you, and to be fair, you know, it's getting harder and harder organically to get found on, you know, on social media, because sponsored ads are taking over. So it is harder and harder, and you've got to stand out more and more. But if you look in the background and you think that you're targeting, you know, women age 40 who are busy and working, but actually your demographic audience on that platform is actually males who are 30, you know, then you're targeting the wrong people, you know. So it's kind of like, how do you shift that audience over? How do you get from the male 30 to, you know, to women of 40? So it's, if you're not delving into the background of what's going on, then it's not going to work for you. And that's, you know, that is really, really crucial. So you've got to then steer your, you know, your paid ads in the direction to try and draw the right audience in. But it might just be that you're sitting on the wrong platform. So it might be as simplistic as that. And also, I would say there's a lot of people have, you know, I'm doing a digital marketing master's at the moment, and kind of one of the things that crops up, you know, sort of time and time again, is kind of the next new shiny digital marketing thing that comes on the market. Everyone's like, I've got to be on it. So I've got to be on it. Yeah. And you don't, you know, you can't put that much pressure on yourself. It's, you know, it's kind of like, yes, it's great if that is where your audience sits, then absolutely, you know, go for it and nail it. But, you know, if you haven't mastered the basics of your, you know, the other platforms, you can't just jump, you know, ship to a new shiny new platform. It's kind of like, just wait, you know, get yourself established in one place first, get it working for you, you know, then jump onto that shiny new platform. But, you know, we don't just have to be, you know, so work in digital marketing, and it's exciting when you know, platforms come out. Of course it's exciting. And, you know, and if it's the right business, then yeah, you know, do get on it. But don't just think, oh my God, that's, you know, it's shiny and it's new, and you must get on there. You know, nail something first, get it working for you, and then move on to those ones. Yeah. CRM systems. There's quite a lot of new businesses that I've spoken to recently that actually don't even have a CRM in place. So if you are one of those businesses, well, I would say do contact me, because I do, I can get you set up in a HubSpot account as well. If and it's, you know, just the free version of HubSpot. But with a CRM, it's kind of like, if you do have a CRM system in place, what are you doing with it? Are you utilizing it to its full potential? Are you collecting data? You know, have you got that kind of, you know, email download on your website that people register with, and you're collecting your, you know, their email information? Or are they making inquiries? Or obviously you've got to do this within GDPR guidelines, and that's obviously is essential. But if you've collected the, you know, this data from people, what are you then doing with it? Or, you know, are you sending some email marketing back out to those people? How are you communicating with them? You know, how do they know what services that you offer? It might be somebody, I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, we want somebody to come to us. We want them to stay. We want them to buy, you know, and maybe progress up the ladder of products and services that we offer. But if it is just those people who are just that one-time purchase, how do we get them back? It's kind of, you know, how do we get them through that funnel? How do we get them there again? So it's looking at what you're doing with your CRM system as well. And obviously, if you've got 10 clients on board, then it's great, and it's probably quite easy to manage. You know, you kind of know who you've got to go back to, that kind of thing. But when that grows to 100, 300, 500, how do you keep a track of that? Using a CRM system is a really useful way to kind of say, okay, they're in this stage of the process. We now need to follow up with this. I need to call to them on Tuesday, and recording every step of the process in your CRM system. You know, every time you make a phone call, it goes in there. So you've got full history. And by the time that you've grown from a one-man band to 10, 15, 30 employees, everybody knows what's gone on with that client in the past. They all know, and they can all follow up. And that's, you know, that's kind of the basics of what you do with a CRM system.
Yeah, completely, Pam. I mean, like, we always talk about the fact that a CRM should have their previous purchases on there. You know? So actually the previous purchases should be on there, but actually what potentially could you sell to them for the future? So based on that previous purchase, what's the next step? What's the next kind of thing? And your CRM system is imperative for that. I mean, we always talk about, it's not just about keeping the client's data as in their name, their address, or their email address. It's a using, you know, working document, you know, that has purchases on there, what future purchases, what's the activity that's going on from there. And like you said, email campaigns or telephone calls or whatever, the way it's just so important. I'm a big advocate for CRMs.
Yeah, the thing is as well, I mean, obviously with GDPR, you know, you can't go back to, you know, if you've had a CRM and a database sitting there for years and years, you can't go back to those people, you know, that are maybe sort of, you know, haven't been in touch for 5 years, because, you know, it has to be legitimate interest at that exact, you know, at that time. But obviously people also get nervous about GDPR, and I'm not a GDPR expert, so I'm not going to say to go too much into that. But what I say to people is, okay, so if somebody has, you know, they've clicked on your website, they've made an inquiry with you, that is legitimate interest. They've given that is legitimate interest in your product and service. But obviously you have to be careful. And as I say, I'm not a GDPR expert, but there is a lot of people that also, you know, instead of, you know, where you sometimes you get the opposite ends of the scale. You get people who just go, oh yeah, just turn everything out to all those people, even if they haven't, you know, contacted us for 10 years. And then you get the next person that goes, oh no, GDPR is really scary, we shouldn't contact anybody. Yes. And so you've got to, you've got to sit somewhere in the middle. You've got to not be nervous to send emails out to the people that are, you know, certainly the people that you're offering that service to currently, or, you know, are buying from you. You've got to not be scared, but obviously you've got to target the right information and not be spammy about it. But so there's a fine line about, you know, about contacting your clients. And, you know, and again, I'm more than happy to speak to people about this as well, you know, about how to build up your CRM, you know, even if some businesses who have never collected that data, and there are a lot of businesses out there, how do we start to collect that data from this point on? You know, even if you haven't done it before, you know, get on it and start from now, start getting that data. Even if your database is 10 people, it's a start. That's, you know, that's all I say. And you've got to start somewhere. We've all got to start somewhere.
Definitely.
This is obviously, we're talking about emails. So it's kind of like once you've got the email campaigns in place, it's sending kind of targeted emails out to the right clients. Campaigns, you might have a special offer, coming up, and you might let your audience know about that. I would also say as well, not to be scared from, when people unsubscribe as well. I mean, ideally you don't want people to unsubscribe from your emails. And that's kind of something to also look at to see, am I targeting the right people? But if you get, unsubscribe 2 or 3 people, that's not an issue. And you will always get that as well. But make sure that you're planning your campaigns, you're making everything, look very simple. It's not, nobody wants to see an email that's just text, that goes on forever. No one wants that. So it's kind of, making sure that you've got images in there, if it's your latest blog that you're putting out there, but just something of value. It's that whole thing again, where when, as the client, it's what's in it for me. That's all they want to know. Your client only wants to know what's in it for me. What do I get out of this email? So it's looking at that. And then how do we remarket? So I touched on this a little bit earlier. How do we remarket back out to our clients? You may have a subscription or something that you've got in place, but how do you go back and remarket to those people? And it's, when I look at kind of a marketing plan with businesses, we're always looking at, even when we're looking at the bits at the very beginning of the digital marketing roadmap, we're always thinking about, how do we remarket out to these people? It's always there. So although it's the last thing on this digital marketing roadmap, it's not something that is missed. It's there every single step of the way. How do we keep a hold of this client? How do we keep them there? What can we offer them for the future? So although I say remarketing is there at the very end, it's not missed along the way. And then it's kind of like, so it's almost like going back to the beginning again and working through all again. It's a constant roadmap. Now, although this is very strategic, I'm talking about this step by step, when obviously there are bits that kind of, as we say, with a roadmap, you can steer off in very different directions. So we're always looking at, what specialisms people have. So, like I said earlier, if somebody's going to write a blog, are they the right person to write the blog? I mean, I don't know, Julie, if you've written a blog or not, but if I said to you, okay, do you know what, Julie, actually to update your website, you need to write a blog twice, every 2 weeks. And you said, Pam, I can't write a blog. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like, how do we find somebody who can? And then I'll help businesses look at other blog writers for them. So it's kind of like, where do you have to outsource? Or sometimes people think blog writing is difficult, but actually it probably is something that they can do. So we kind of look at actually this is how the simplistic way to write a blog is this. Do you think you could do that? And most people go, yeah, I could do that. And and then they crack on with it. So we do steer off in different things. We talk about networking, which is very, very crucial to your marketing. It's maybe not digital marketing such, but it is still valid in your marketing. And I certainly always talk about traditional marketing along the way too. I don't, just because I say I'm a digital marketing specialist, I absolutely do not rule out your traditional marketing, because there is a place for that too. So yeah, that's I do have other slides here, but I didn't know if that's
that's perfect.
To stop.
No, I think it's a perfect way to start. I think the one key learning that I'm taking away from this is that I think you hit the nail right on the head at the very end there, that there are more traditional forms of marketing, like you say, relationship marketing, but they all work alongside digital marketing, because your digital market enhances kind of your relationship marketing and other forms, doesn't it? It all works alongside, and it's making sure that your strategy for marketing kind of encompasses all of them to move your business forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I say that had many discussions, I think with yourself as well, about sort of, lumpy mail and stuff as well, about sending that out to your clients. Because actually, whereas, when we go back a few years where it was constant mail that was coming through our letterbox, it was a very different time. But actually, to receive something from a business that you're working with, just an extra added treat. But I think you touched on this actually at a coffee club a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's kind of that extra treat. It actually makes you stand out that little bit more. So it's kind of like we've gone a little bit backwards, where actually it's nice to send some lumpy mail out to your, either to a potential client or, or just to some businesses that you're working with, just to say, hey, I think actually, do I recall correctly, Julie, did you not get some cakes and sweets recently? I think
I did, actually. You can tell you're on holiday. So Lisa Organ from Lisa Sweet Street was with us last Wednesday, and she was talking about sweets and lumpy mail, and it's just when you look at marketing over the last 18 months, like you said, Pam, before 18 months, how much mail did we used to get through the post, and you think about at home as well as business, and actually, you think, well, maybe direct mail isn't the way forward, because you would get so much that how could you stand outside, stand out of the crowd? So therefore, was an email marketing campaign got a better open rate than you would do from your direct mail. But actually, it has the trend now reversed with the thing, the everybody, that word COVID, that this last 18 months or so, has the trend reversed? And is it that emails aren't getting a click rate now, whereas direct mail is more popular because you're standing out more, because you're doing something different? And I think that's key for any business. What makes you unique? And it goes back to that unique selling point. What makes you different? Why should I come to you? What's in it for me? So why should I use Pam Taylor? What sets you apart? Well, your digital roadmap sets you apart. So that's the reason why we should come to you as a business to kind of learn more. I find it fascinating. One question that we have had with an email campaign: is there an optimum kind of number that you should be sending an email campaign to, or does it matter whether you've only got 10 people on your database or 100 people on your database? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter at all. What matters most is that you are targeting the right email to the right people. If you've got 10 people in your database and they are signed up with the service, and you're sending an email about something that's really not relevant to them at all, then that's not going to work. But it's kind of more about the content within the email. It's kind of like, you got to keep it short and snappy, because as you say, we're all getting so many emails now. And I suppose actually on another note there as well, it's kind of being consistent too. And if you do start that kind of email campaign, don't send 5 then stop, and then it's being consistent about what you're doing, and and who you're targeting. You'll probably get to the point where when you build up a database, you'll have different audiences, and you'll be targeting the different audiences with different emails. You might have clients that you want to give more value to a paid client, but actually there'll be people in your database that are not actually paying clients at that time. So although you want to give them your expertise, you might be giving a little bit less than you will to people who are actually paying you at the moment. So you might be segregating your audience off like that.
Sorry, Pam, I was going to say, we call it like mining your database. So you're literally classifying it as in these are current clients, these are previous clients, these are future clients potentially, and making sure that it's specific to what you're doing, specific to those clients. So it could be mining it and classifying it on previous purchases. So this is where your CRM kind of links in with your marketing strategy. So you've got your CRM and you can classify it in different ways. And I think sometimes we don't really appreciate how powerful the data that we collect is. you know, and that's another ball game totally, but
yes,
but
that's a whole webinar that we do on sort of CRMs in Luv4 Marketing. That's, yeah, we do one. It's almost about 2 hours long on that. So yeah, there's and even that doesn't cover everything, but yeah, it is a minefield once you get into it. And actually, if you've got a really good CRM system that works for your business, I mean, you can have it working for you when you're in bed asleep at night. It can be doing, you know, somebody clicks on, you know, on this, then they get this email sent, you know, it's a whole, you can, you know, you can just go, you can go wild with ideas, you know, in emails within your CRM system. But it's just, you know, if you, what I would say to any business that isn't utilizing their CRM system is to start kind of looking at that from today onwards, especially when you're recording conversations or, you know, follow-ups that you've got, you know, to do. Make sure you're recording that within there, because it will build up a history that is of high value to you, you know, and obviously, you know, it's got to be secure, but it's kind of you'll be building up a picture of clients or potential clients that will really hold you in good stead for the future, and how to target them further down the line with your marketing.
Yeah, we just had Roz comment saying that consistency is key, you know, and I totally agree. It's consistency, and it's consistency across the board. So Pam, if you were, you know, speaking to a new startup, so somebody who's got a great business idea, and they're like, what do I do next? Okay, if they had limited resources, limited thing, what is the one thing that you would turn around and say you've got to do that first? Or is that a really kind of catch-22 question?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I would say, maybe controversial or not, but I would say that to invest in a really good website, that's your starting point. Invest in a website. Make sure that you do your homework on who is building that website. It's the one place where people cut costs at the very beginning. And again, it's, you know, again, if you, I mean, for me, I always think about things in a physical sense. So it's kind of like, you wouldn't, you know, it's kind of like, think about where physically you would put your business. You wouldn't plonk it, you know, somewhere, you know, if you were a shop and you wanted to be found in the high street, then you wouldn't hide yourself away in some sort of back alley in a garage with the door shut. So it's kind of like, it's thinking about investing. Yes, it costs a lot to invest in a really good website with SEO, but with the right web developer, it will be worth it. Yeah. And that, you know, you will, when we were building websites, you know, to be found by Google, we're having weekly meetings with clients. We're looking at the, you know, we're doing keyword analysis along the way. There's a lot of in-depth information that goes into it. The client is involved in every single step of the way. There is nothing that they don't know about. And I have heard sadly, some horror stories about businesses that, you know, even that have spent thousands of pounds and their website still isn't working for them. And it's a difficult conversation for me to have with them when they say, oh, I've spent £7,000 on this website, and I can say, you know, things that are wrong with it already. And that is a difficult conversation. So it's invest your money wisely with a reputable web developer that, you know, has built a, you know, websites. Kind of, what is their history? Mm-hmm. You know, if they say that they've got, you know, they've built websites, you know, I mean, we're quite open about the clients that that we've worked with in the past. So people are more than willing to be able to go and search those, you know, use those Google search terms to see where they rank. And we're very, very open about that. And I would hope that all web developers are as open about that with their clients too, so that they can see, you know, what businesses that they've worked with in the past, and are they being found, are they ranking on Google? Mm-hmm. So just invest wisely. You know, we don't, none of us have money growing on trees, but do invest well.
Yeah. No. And how long does a website take to develop? I've often intrigued. Is it like how long's a piece of string kind of scenario, or is it a case of minimum is a couple of months, maximum can take longer? Or
for us at Luv4 Marketing, it's a 12-week process that we go through. That's kind of a minimum period of time. Yeah. And that's just to be able to allow the client to be able to say, because obviously we put together a kind of like a mock-up website for our client, and they may hate it. I mean, we've never had that, but they may not like it at all and want everything changed. But there's normally tweaks. People will say things like, "Oh, I don't like that color. That that doesn't go right." So there'll be small changes that need to be made. But obviously, most of the time it's kind of writing the content, because if you as a business are writing your own content, or paying somebody else to write your content, it does take time, because it's rare, in fact, to have a really small sort of one-page website. Most people who go, yeah, I just need 10 pages. Actually, when we break it down, and you need, and you have a dedicated page for each service that you offer, you jump from 10 to 20 or 30 pages, just like that. And people go, oh, I didn't really, But you find for those services, you do need to have a separate page for each dedicated service that you offer.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. No, just thinking, what's in 12 weeks time? Well, actually it's coming up towards Christmas, so therefore if anybody's a product serviced kind of product like business and looking to get their website up and ready for Christmas and for October, November, and now is the time to kind of do it, really, isn't it? And I hate to bring up that Christmas word, but it's also about your marketing strategy, your emails, campaigns, your social accounts. It's that planning aspect, and that's where you guys come in as the experts to help people. So that's great. I'm not sure we've got any more questions. So on that note, Pam, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I've absolutely loved it, as always. Thank you so much for joining us on your first day back after a 2-week holiday. And it just goes out to say, to anybody who's listening out there on Facebook land or LinkedIn land, as I call them, or any of our participants today, if you do want to get in contact with Pam, just drop us a note, drop it on the comment boxes on the social media platforms, and Pam will be in touch with you and to arrange those appointments to chat about. And at the end of the day, she offers that free website audit. So it's an amazing gift, I would say, to those businesses out there that want to see how they do work and rank on Google. So thank you so much again, Pam. And for those that are joining us, we look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie, for having me today. Thank you.